Okay, in this video clip I'm doing some mixed products, and this will be the last video clip in the product series. Okay folks, I've got two problems on the screen. If we analyze the problems to see what form they're on, we might have shortcuts that we can draw on. Let's have a look. Here we have 2x plus 3. There we have 4x squared plus 9. There's not really something we can do with that. But there we have 2x minus 3. So if I combine those two together, remember I am multiplying. And if I say 2 times 3 times 4, that is the same as 4 times 2 times 3. So if you multiply things together, you can arrange them in whichever way it suits you. Okay, so if I do those two together, I get the difference of squares, a plus b, a minus b, which is a squared, so it's 2x all squared, which is 4x squared, minus 3 squared, which is 9, and then I'm left with the bracket in the middle, 4x squared plus 9. And look at what just happened here. It's the same thing again. It's a minus b, a plus b, which is the first thing squared minus the second one squared, the difference of 2 squares. This here is 4x squared, and this there is 9. So I get 4 squared, which is 16x to the power 2 to the power 2 is x to the power 4, minus 9 squared is 81. Okay, now if you went term by term by term, you would still be busy doing that sum. Okay, so watch out for these things. How is this one different from this one? Let's have a look. We've got 3x plus y, we've got 3x plus y. But here we have minus 2p plus v, and there we have 2p minus v. Okay, so what am I suspecting here? Let's have a look. If I do the following, if I say this is 3x plus y minus, and I take the minus out, I get 2p minus v in that inside bracket. Just check. Minus times a plus is a minus times a minus is a plus. In my second, let me just make that a curly bracket. In this bracket, I have 3x plus y there, same thing, plus, I can group them together, 2p minus v. Now if you look carefully, it's again the same thing that happened here. There's a minus a b. Here is the same thing, so we can call it a, plus 2p minus v. Now if I multiply those two things together, the rule tells me it's the first one squared minus the second one squared. The first one is 3x plus y. Okay, so it's a binomial there. And over here, I've got 2p minus v that I'm going to square. So all I need to do is square this. I get 9x squared. That times 2 is 6xy plus y squared minus, be careful of the negative, now square the second bracket. The second bracket squared is 4p squared minus 2 times that is minus 4pv plus v squared. Moving the negative in is the last bit of work that I have to do. So this one doesn't clean up so nicely because there's no like terms that I can group together. So 4p squared negative times a negative is a plus 4pv, negative times a positive is minus v squared. Okay, but the crux of the matter here is those two and those two had the same form. We could multiply them or regroup them and then identify the difference of squares. Let's look at the next set that I have ready for us. If I analyze this set, if I look at this term, if I square it, it's there. It's a bi times a tri. Now that is very suspicious there. So bi times tri, I look for the form. Now remember, what does the form say? The form said if we have a plus b, then we must have a squared minus ab plus b squared. And if that is the case, I've got this cubed plus that cubed as a result. So let's have a look. If I square 2x, I get 4x squared. The middle term here is that times that with a negative, so it's minus 2x. 1 squared is 1. So immediately I can say this is 2x cubed plus the 1 cubed, which is 1. So this is the first bracket. Then I must still distribute that to 8x cubed minus 1. Okay. Let's fix this one there. Actually, the cube is outside the bracket. Okay, so if I cube this, I get 8x cubed plus 1, and then I get 8x cubed minus 1. And again, the difference of squares come up. So it will be the first one squared minus the 1 squared, which is 1. If I square the 8, I get 64. If I square x cubed, I get x to the power 3 multiplied by 2, which is x to the 6 minus 1. Lovely clean up there. Okay, let's look at this one. Oh, here we can almost see it straight away. A plus b, a minus b. So it will be a squared minus b squared. So pw minus b, and here we have the 3x gives me 4p squared, rather, the 2 squared and the p squared. That times 2 is minus 4pw plus w squared minus 3 to the power 2 is 9x squared. Quite quickly that one was done. Okay, folks, the last two we have are these two that I want us to multiply out. If we look again here, we've got the distributive law that happens here, and here we have the difference of squares. There's nothing special there. So if I distribute 2x squared, that's xy, 4 minus 3 is plus xy, minus 6y squared. This here is the difference of squares. So it's the first term squared minus the second term squared. If I clean that up, I get 6x squared plus xy minus 6 minus y is minus 7y squared. And that one is done. Okay, perfect. The last one that I have for you is this one, where we have again got the difference of two squares. So I need to distribute this. It's a squared minus b squared. You can either factorize it by bringing in the difference of squares, or you can square brackets and clean up. Let's just square the brackets and clean it up. So 2 squared is 4. My pen is giving in. So 2 squared is 4 multiplied by x minus 1 squared minus 3 squared is 9 multiplied by x plus y squared. If I square that binomial, I get x squared minus 2xy plus y squared minus 9 squared. That binomial, x squared plus 2xy plus y squared. You should be quite sufficient at squaring those binomials by now. We move the 4 in, 4x squared minus 8xy plus 4y squared. The negative goes into the bracket and it changes every sign. So it's minus 9x squared minus 18xy minus 9y squared. We clean this up. There's an x squared there. Together gives me minus 5x squared xy. If I subtract the 2, I get minus 26xy. So it's just a matter of adding your like terms. Okay, folks, so there were two ways to do it. You could have written this as a minus b, a plus b, and then distribute, or you could deal with it separately and square the brackets and clean it up. Hope that helps.